might not believe this, but house prices are not going up. They're actually crashing and have been for more than 10 years. If you don't understand how that's possible, let me break it down for you. Hey guys, welcome to the Bitcoin Experience. In this video, I want to challenge the common belief that house prices are going up. Every day you hear about how young people can't afford to buy a home because house prices are rising. But in reality, house prices are going down. And if you don't believe me, then keep watching. Now, if you get value from this video and you find it useful, it would help me a lot if you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment down below. And with that said, let's get right into it. Let's start with a factual statement that real estate investors really don't like to hear. Houses, or real estate in general, don't really go up in value, they go up in price. That's because the currency they are priced in gets debased. In other words, the currency loses purchasing power. This means you require more of it to buy the same house. This is a direct result of the debt-based monetary system that we've had since 1971. When you want to buy a house, chances are you will go to a bank and ask them for a mortgage. The bank will assess your financial position and lend you the money if they feel comfortable with the risk. Now, here's where things get interesting. Let's say the house you want to buy is 100K. I know that's a very low price nowadays, but it's a nice round number that we can work with. And let's say that you need to put down a 10% deposit, which is 10K. That means you need the bank to lend you 90K to reach the 100K you require to buy the house. But where does that 90K come from? You might think the bank takes it from someone else and gives it to you, but that's not how it works. The bank actually creates that 90K out of thin air on the spot and credits it to your account. Essentially, the bank has lent the money into existence for you. If you don't believe me, you're welcome to go and look this up for yourself. Even better, go ask your local banker where the money comes from when you take out a mortgage. Now, take the example we just went over and apply it at scale. How many other people can do what you did? How many other people can just walk into a bank and have the bank literally create money on the spot for them to buy a house? Are you starting to see the big picture? Essentially, the more people have access to mortgages, the more people can bid on houses, pushing the prices higher. Because creating money out of thin air is infinitely easier than building a house. Exponentially more units of currency chasing the same number or slowly growing number of houses is what causes prices to rise. It's basic supply and demand at work. That's why I said at the beginning of this video that houses don't really go up in value. They just go up in price because the supply of currency units grows so much faster than the supply of houses. So it's the currency losing purchasing power against houses that creates this problem for the people who want to become homeowners. Not to mention that rich people have been buying houses to use them as savings accounts or investment accounts for decades, because houses are so much scarcer than currency units and they also have utility value. This allows them to preserve and grow their purchasing power and even receive a steady income in the form of rent. Essentially, rich people prefer to hold their money in real estate because it's a better store of value than fiat currencies. So now that you understand what causes house prices to rise, let's go back to what I said earlier. Basically, I claimed that house prices are actually crashing. But how does that make any sense? Well, it makes sense because you can also measure house prices in gold and in Bitcoin. And when you do that, you notice something remarkable. Let me quickly share my screen with you so you can see exactly what I mean. Okay, so here we are in TradingView, and what I have open in the first two tabs are the average house prices in the US and in the UK. So as you can see, over the last 10 years, since December 2014 until today, house prices in the US, so the average house price, has gone up by 46.25%. So basically 10 years ago, you were able to buy the average house in the US for $373,000, and today the same house costs $545,000. The same in the UK. If we go, we can see again from December 2014 till today, which is December 2024, so exactly 10 years, the cost of the average house in the UK has gone up by 54.72%. So 10 years ago, you could buy the average UK house for 192K, and today it costs 298K. So obviously, as you can see, prices have gone up over the last 10 years. So now let's look at the average house price in the US and in the UK over the same time period, so over the last 10 years, but measured in gold. And if we go here, we can see that since December 2014 till today, the average house price in the US has actually gone down by 33%. Basically, houses in the US have gotten cheaper when measured in gold. So 10 years ago, you could buy the average house in the US for 314 ounces of gold. Today, it only takes you 208 ounces of gold to buy the average house. Now let's look at the UK. As you can see, very similar trend. Over the last 10 years, the average house price in the UK has dropped by 43.72%. So basically, 10 years ago, you could buy the average UK house for 253 ounces of gold, and today it takes only 142 ounces of gold to buy the average house. And this is where you're going to be completely blown away. The next two tabs are going to measure the average house in the US and UK, but priced in Bitcoin. So let's have a look at that. As you can see, again, the last 10 years, since December of 2014 until December of 2024, house prices in the US, the average house price in the US has dropped by over 99%. As you can see, 10 years ago, you could have bought the average US house for just over 1,000 Bitcoin. Today, it costs just over 5 Bitcoin to buy the average US house. And if we go to the UK one, again, we see the same trend. Over the last 10 years, the average house price in the UK has dropped by over 99%. And again, 10 years ago, it would have cost you 964 Bitcoin to buy the average UK house. Today, it costs you just under 4 Bitcoin. And this is what I meant when I said that house prices are not going up. They're actually crashing, and they have been crashing for the last 10 years. If you measure them in a unit that can't just be printed out of thin air. Gold, you have to dig it out of the ground, you have to process it, you have to expand energy and resources to get it. You can't just print it out of thin air. The same goes for Bitcoin. You need mining rigs, you need energy, you need infrastructure. You can't print Bitcoin out of thin air. You have to expand resources. So, as I just showed you, house prices have gotten over 99% cheaper in Bitcoin terms over the last 10 years. This is the result of Bitcoin's fixed supply and its growth in purchasing power over time as it's getting monetized. With only 21 million Bitcoin to ever exist, its absolute scarcity makes it a very good and reliable store of value. Unlike fiat currencies, which can be and are printed endlessly, when you save in Bitcoin, you have a very good chance to protect and grow your purchasing power over the long term. So if you dream of owning a home, but you feel like it's completely out of your reach, then in my opinion, saving in Bitcoin might be the best strategy to help you achieve your dream. By saving in Bitcoin, you're leveraging its increasing purchasing power to basically bridge the gap between you and home ownership. Because over the long term, Bitcoin's purchasing power has consistently grown even through volatile periods. And as Bitcoin's purchasing power increases, it doesn't just make house prices cheaper in Bitcoin terms. It also challenges the idea that real estate is a great place to store wealth. For decades, rich people have used real estate to store wealth because it's scarce, it has utility value, and it generates rental income. But the problem is, owning real estate comes with a lot of drawbacks. You've got maintenance costs, property taxes, tenant issues, and it's not exactly easy to sell if you need liquidity. Now, compare that to Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't have any maintenance costs, no taxes for just holding it, it has global liquidity, and is portable. So, as more people, especially the wealthy, realize this, we will see a massive shift. They will start selling their houses not for other real estate, but for Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is a superior store of value. It's easier to buy and hold, and it's infinitely more accessible than real estate. And as this shift happens, the role of real estate as a wealth-preserving asset will begin to change. So what does this mean for the average person? In my opinion, it means two things. First, homes will likely become more affordable in Bitcoin terms as this shift accelerates. Wealth that is currently locked up in real estate will move into Bitcoin, reducing the demand for houses as savings or investment accounts. Second, saving in Bitcoin to buy a home gives you a significant edge. While other people struggle to save enough fiat to chase ever-rising house prices, your purchasing power and ability to buy a home increases. The sooner you start saving in Bitcoin, the better positioned you'll be to buy a home in the near future. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me until the end. Don't forget to give this video a like if you got value from it, and consider subscribing for more valuable content. If you have any questions, feedback, or even criticism, please write them down below in the comment section and I'll make sure to reply to every single one of you. Until next time guys, keep stacking, keep hodling, and remember that a Bitcoin DCA keeps poverty away.